The invisible glue of the universe, dark matter is a phenomenon with incredible power, yet it is perceived as a seemingly intangible force. Its impact is acknowledged in the cultural imagination, yet it is found to be impossible to quantify, eluding existing maps of understanding. Drawing upon dark matter's role in the cultural imagination, many Black visual artists employ the concept of dark matter in their work, taking color, space, and materiality as tools enabling manipulations of Black social, cultural, and political visibilities. Through the construction and complication of the invisible, Black creators such as Lina Viktor, Juliana Huxtable, and Pat Ward-Williams dually allow and deny access to the worlds they create and the bodies that inhabit them, troubling notions of legibility and tangibility. Rather than playing in the dark, these Black visual artists manipulate and make claim to that darkness, constructing new universes of meaning in that process. In the terming of dark matter, a forced and unknown appearance, imagined as unseen by the human eye, is labeled as dark, positioning human darkness as parallel to invisibility. Lina Viktor's materia prima subverts this equation of blackness with a lacking, instead using it to define her form in images of textured background. Tones of black and gold, real, pure, 24-karat gold, form geometric shapes in the background. Rather than being flat forms, these shapes are textured, rising out of their background, asserting their presence, making themselves visible. These shapes culminate in a halo around Viktor's head, indicating her very being as divine. With her hair and lips dipped in gold and her body painted black, the colors of black and gold are constructed as decorative, accentuating Viktor's beauty. Alongside the gold, blackness is constructed as valuable, beautiful, and present, the tones of black paint on Viktor's body accentuating the presence of her form. Stark against the black and gold colors that adorn her body, the whites of her eyes are startling, as her resting pupils gaze out towards the viewer. While acknowledging the viewer, Viktor's figure does not invite the viewer into the space, as she sits in the foreground of the image, leaving no space for guests. With its background a plane of blue and tan tones, alluding to a background yet not heavily defining it, Huxtable is entitled in the Rage, Nibiru Cataclysm, and emphasizes the constructed nature of its scene, while centering Huxtable as the focus of the image, as she is the only fully three-dimensional figure in the frame. Her skin is unlike any color in an imagined palette of human skins. Notions of light and dark, black and white are eschewed, removing any tonal marker that might be used to assume her history or her character. The blues, yellows, and greens of her skin and her hair, complementing the tones of the background, the color palette Huxtable constructs creates a space seemingly beyond that of our material world. Its title alludes to an astronomical event, perhaps pointing to an alien world or a supernatural encounter. While science fiction builds out of notions of technological and scientific progress, Huxtable does not implicate herself as a scientific subject, rather than being inscribed as supernatural and superhuman, a being of her own mythical creation. The color of her form complementing that of the landscape, she positions herself as integral to the scene. Nevertheless, as her nude body faces away from the viewer, her gaze downward, she refuses access to a frontal view of her body, refusing to meet the audience's gaze and curiosities. As the wispy blue forms in the background allude to a sort of endlessness, a moving beyond the frame, the audience is implicated in Huxtable's newly constructed world. While Pat Ward-Williams' accused blowtorch padlock does less to visually construct a space, and instead interrupts the interface between the viewer and the image, constructing an interpolative space. Torn from the Spine of Life magazine, the images are dwarfed by the text that surrounds it, which interrogates the viewer's relationship to the images. Through the pronoun you, the position occupied by the narrator is separated from that of the audience member, constructing distance, the white text floating within the black background. Williams' words interrupt the legibility of the dark matter, directly questioning how meaning is made of the images, deploying legibility to enable an interrogation.